falling like the rain. Oh, she's dancing with her arms out, spinning like a hurricane. And I kinda like the sunshine, kinda like a blue sky, but I kinda like the way I feel it, and she's got me like, oh, I'm out here blown away, and I'm falling like the rain.
Hi everyone, Linda Helbman here for Canadian Beats. We are here in Thornbury, Ontario at the Thornbury Cider House.
Yeah.
Right?
Thornbury Village Cidery.
Cool. And I haven't sampled the ciders here yet.
It's fabulous.
You have...
This is the blueberry elderflower, and it's
Awesome.
pretty
May
good.
I try a sip? Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
There's an apple cranberry that I'd love to try.
That's really good too.
I have to drive, so I don't want to drink too much. Or Scotty's
I
going to
live here, so I can crawl home.
Or
so that's-
Scotty's going to have a house guest tonight. Well, Scotty Kipfer, for anybody who
What's up, guys?
doesn't recognize this man, who has been all over Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook and iTunes.
Yeah,
all
finally
sorts of
iTunes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Finally iTunes. Congratulations
Thank you.
on the release of Taking My Time.
I'm excited. It's been 3 years getting this project together, so to finally have it out just feels amazing.
And it's been quite the journey to make it happen.
It has. I mean, I started my career in radio when I was 17 years old, you know, so now I'm 35. This was always what I wanted to do with my life, but it just sort of, I took the long way around, and I worked in artist development and record labels and artist management and a lot of different things. I toured with Ryan Laird and Bobby Wills playing guitar, and now I finally have a record out, so I'm really
cool.
excited about it.
And you have been a songwriter forever.
Yeah, I've had some songs with Ryan and a gal named Libby McGrath. I did a lot of writing with Misty Lee Olson way back. I had a song with Jesse Farrell, which was pretty cool, and now, yeah, finally I have my own stuff.
Doesn't it feel good?
It feels great. It feels great. And, you know, that was kind of interesting for me, getting from writing for other artists to writing for myself. You know, I think writing for other people is kind of interesting because you can separate yourself from the song and just write the story or whatever it is. When you're writing for your own voice, it's a very different thing. So I think, you know, when I moved down to Nashville, I was spending half my time in there starting in 2015. And that's when I really started to find my voice as a songwriter and as an artist. And it's actually the song called Taking My Time, which is now the title track of the record, that sort of put it all into laser focus for me. So it was light and it was fun. It was this kind of goofy love song. And it was like, oh man, this is finally what I want to do, you know? So I knew that I always wanted to make a record, but this was just, it was finally, you know, I had the direction. So so then it was just a matter of writing the rest of the record and then getting into the studio and recording it. So now finally, as of June 15th, it's out, and I'm so excited about it.
And it debuted at number 8.
Number 8 on iTunes, yeah, iTunes Country.
really good.
So, I mean, yeah, it's for a brand new artist, completely independent. You know, I'm really excited about the number 8 debut, and my buddy Drew Gregory in Alberta, he had a number 1 debut on the same day, so I'm really excited for him.
Congratulations, Drew. We're very proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really cool for me to see the only 2 Canadians on the top 10 were both independents, and I just think that's really cool. You know,
is.
for people to be supporting independent music in Canada, I just think it's really special. So, so congrats, Drew.
Yes, absolutely. And congrats to you, too.
Thank you.
Now, you come from a musical family.
I do, yeah. I started playing in my dad's brass band. Well, it was not my dad's brass band. It was the Milverton Legion band, which my dad was a part of. So he plays the sousaphone, which is the big wraparound tuba that you see in marching bands and things. So we were playing military marches and show tunes and things like that. And it was just it was a blast. You know, I have a picture of me when I was about 3 years old. Playing a little plastic saxophone, and it's floating around on Instagram somewhere. You can track it down. But actually, in the album cover artwork, there's a record player, and there's some photos in the record player, and the bottom left is me at 3 years old playing that saxophone. That's that picture.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, I've been surrounded by it my whole life. I played in that band, you know, various instruments over the years. I wound up playing a real saxophone, which I still currently play in that band when I have time. You know, we'll go out and do Santa Claus parades, and that's typically what I'll be able to do with them. But But yeah, it's just a blast. I got my education from those guys. I grew up with, it was a Legion band. So these guys were 50 years old when I joined. For the most part, my dad was one of the youngest members at the time. And so now it's a lot of those guys have now started to die off, which is really sad. But at the same time, there's a lot of new people coming into the band, which is really exciting. And so it lives on. The band's been around for over 100 years, I think, at this point now, and it's pretty cool. So I started with that. Got into my great uncle's fiddle band when I was about 7, playing fiddle. I can't play fiddle anymore to save my life, but yeah, I was doing that. Playing farmers markets and retirement homes and things like that. And eventually. It started to get a little bit more serious. I started to write, and I started to play with artists and doing the club scene in Ontario, and so it was just sort of a natural progression to finally doing this.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned Milverton. I actually had a friend in my teens in Toronto who came from Milverton.
No kidding.
Her dad, her name was Sue Kenyon.
Okay.
And her dad owned the Milverton Sun.
No way.
Yes.
My mom was an editor for the Milverton Sun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I can't remember her dad's name.
We'll have to figure that out. We'll dig into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like when I saw Milverton, I had to
That's pretty
mention
cool.
that. Yes.
Yeah. Helen
yes.
Barker was she was the big columnist, and she worked for the Sun and the Beacon Herald, and she's now passed away too. But she was just. She was amazing. Her column was called On My Mind, and it was great. She was a local celebrity and very cool. So
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Your first single off the album
Falling
was
Like the
called
Rain.
Falling Like the Rain.
Yeah.
I love this song.
Thank
I love
you.
the video for it.
The video is a hoot
really,
to shoot,
really
man.
good.
Yeah.
It was cold.
It was cold. We shot that on September 1st, so it was just before CCMAs last year, and it was about, I think it was 4 degrees outside when we started shooting.
Oh.
The water, we had a 16,000-gallon water truck on the set, and that water was about 10 degrees, so there was no real reprieve from the cold at all. But yeah, it was cold, but it was worth it. We had a blast, and my band guys, I mean, they all deserve medals for sticking that out with me. But and Brittany too, she did a great job, and she made it real easy to shoot the B-roll. It was a lot of fun, and it turned out great. And my production team at High Rise Studio, they're just spectacular. And so we've got a few videos planned out for the next few singles. So I'm excited to get the ball rolling on production on those two.
Good. Yeah, there's a few points in that video where I can almost see your teeth chattering.
Well, it's funny. We had to edit very carefully on that for that reason. And I was pretty okay. Like, I was running on adrenaline, and that was fine. But my guitar player, Stu, he's 90 pounds soaking wet, and he was soaking wet. And there was a couple of takes where he was doing the solo, and so the camera was right on him, and he was just shaking like a little leaf, the poor guy. So we had to edit around some of that stuff, but despite that, I mean, it turned out great. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you did a radio tour for that.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast. You were East Coast. You were West Coast. You actually came to Sudbury, and I thank you for that.
Oh, hey, I love Sudbury. I've played a bunch in Sudbury, and Kicks. The guys at Kicks there are just second to none. So yeah, I love my time in Sudbury, and loading up my Volkswagen Beetle and driving it from coast to coast was an amazing way to see the country. I went from Calgary to Kamloops, so I got to drive through the Rockies over a weekend, and I planned it so that I had a couple of days to do that.
Oh, nice.
And it was amazing. I had at the time there's the True North Country Countdown. They have the Indie Row Countdown, and so I had the #1 song on that countdown as I was driving through the Rockies, and I just sort of had this moment. It was like, I've never been here before. I'm only here because of my music. And I have a #1 song on a independent countdown. It was all really cool, and it was, I was there by myself, and I just had this sort of quiet moment of celebration, and it was pretty cool. Like, I'm not big on pomp and circumstance and the dog and pony show. It's just not me. So just to have that quiet moment in the mountains to celebrate that little victory was very cool. So.
And you did that totally on your own.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You had no companion with you.
Not until
most of it.
Yeah, not until I hit Thunder Bay and I picked up my little buddy Peter Porker. But But yeah, no, it was an amazing experience, and what a way to see the country. You know, the Cabot Trail in the Maritimes. You know, Northern Ontario is beautiful. Manitoba and Saskatchewan is its own thing. The sky in Saskatchewan is incredible. And then you get into the Rockies, and you get into the the Coquihalla Highway, the Sea to Sky Highway.
The Sea to Sky Highway, I love.
It's
that
unbelievable.
trip.
And then the drive from Whistler to 100 Mile House through Lillooet is beautiful, and then the Peace Foothills. It's amazing. So I'm excited. I'm going to do that for the next couple of singles, just to kind of get
Awesome.
get consistent and be out there and visible, and so I'm excited to do it again and just continue to experience this amazing country that we live in.
I have to ask, when you were driving the Sea to Sky Highway, did you see any bald eagles?
I saw 3 bald eagles on the trip.
Okay.
I don't recall if one was on the Sea to Sky Highway, but I did see 3 bald eagles, 4 black bears, a bunch of deer, obviously, caribou, elk. It was pretty cool. I was on a wildlife kind of excursion too. I took my camera. I dabble in photography. I'm no photographer, but I was on, I think it was Highway 10 in Saskatchewan, and I came across this abandoned house. And so I got into my car and I walked up. It was, I don't know, maybe half a mile to where the house was on the property. And there were a couple of turkey vultures perched on the chimney of this abandoned house. It was just amazing. So I got to explore that, take some photos. I got a great picture of the house with the 2 birds on the chimney, and so I'm going to put together a little photo book and
Great.
have that as sort of a keepsake of the first time I got to get out and see this country that way.
Great. I mentioned the bald eagles because they migrate.
Right.
And there are certain times of the year that you see them in multitudes.
Right.
And I was out in April one year, and I was out west to be in Aaron Pritchett's Hold My Beer video.
Yeah, right.
And so we spent an extra day and went up there and went on a couple of trails and
That's
stuff.
so cool.
And we caught a few, but it's really hard because the trees are so tall.
Well, and that's just it,
They're perched way up there, and you're trying to take a picture. And
Doesn't
you're
matter
like,
how big of a zoom
"It
lens
still
you've
looks
got.
like this."
Yeah, exactly.
But they're beautiful.
Yeah, it was
beautiful
amazing.
creatures.
Yeah, the drive between, I think it was between Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, I saw there was probably 30 hawks on that drive. And I'm a big hawk fan, and so I pulled over. It seemed like every couple of kilometers there was another hawk, so I pulled over and snapped a few photos. It was just awesome. It was awesome.
It was certainly an adventure in traveling for you.
It really
on that
was.
one.
I love traveling, and to be able to do that, just to load up the car and go was pretty cool. I'm reminiscent of a time that I wasn't really even part of the music industry, when you could load up a vehicle with your box of records and go to the radio station and say, "Here, will you listen to my record?" And that's how it worked there obviously were record labels and the infrastructure, but you could go out as an independent artist and a DJ would give you a chance. And
if they liked it, they'd play it.
Exactly, and that doesn't really exist quite in the same way anymore. But to be able to do that, at least in part, was really cool for me. So,
Awesome. So you were coming back from there.
Yeah.
Apparently there's the story you left your wallet in Calgary.
Yeah, so I was staying with my friend in Calgary. I had a radio visit in Edmonton on, this was a Wednesday. So I left Edmonton at 5:30. My visit was at 9 o'clock at CFCW. And realized I didn't have my wallet as I was getting ready to leave Edmonton to come back home. And I had a gig at Burroughs Creek where they host Boots and Hearts on the Friday. So I had, I think, 47 hours to do a 37-hour drive.
Oh, my goodness.
It was tight.
Wow.
So I called my friend, and she was kind enough to come and meet me in Red Deer. So we had lunch together in Red Deer. She brought my wallet, and then it was smooth sailing from there. But I lost a couple of hours of my drive time. So at that point, it was just like, okay, I gotta really haul ass to get back to Ontario in time for this setup.
So you weren't sleeping; you were just driving.
I had a 45-minute nap in Winnipeg, and then it was just I just had to keep going. So I got as far as Uppsala, Ontario, just a little bit north of Uppsala, which is northwest of Thunder Bay.
Okay.
By an hour and a half or two, and I thought I was hallucinating, Linda. I really did. There was this. It looked like the little pig from Moana, staring at me from the side of the road, and so I figured I should pull over and confirm if I was or was not hallucinating. Because if I was hallucinating, I probably shouldn't be driving. But it turned out that there was a little pig on the side of the road, and he had fallen off a livestock truck, and so it went from am I hallucinating to what the hell am I going to do with a little pig? So I put my big hoodie down on my front seat, and I picked him up, and he was pretty banged up. He had fallen off a livestock truck, so I sort of cleaned him up as best I could and set him down on the front seat. He just laid down and went to sleep, and he was great the whole way home. He'd wake up, I'd kind of let him out and run around a little bit. He'd pee, and I'd put him back in, and away we'd go again. So I was at that point about halfway home, so we drove another 20 hours together. And he was great, and he's been great ever since. He's got his own Instagram account now.
He does.
He's a lot of fun. So.
And you called him Peter Porker.
Peter Porker, yeah. On Instagram, he's Peter Porker Piggy. And he's
now. Is that kind of a take on Peter Parker?
Yeah, he's the amazing Spider Pig.
He's the amazing Spider Pig. Okay, Spider Pig.
I'm not saying he's Spider Pig, but I am saying that nobody's ever seen him and Spider Pig in the same room together. So,
which is kind of cool because. If most people know, I don't know how many people know or don't know that you're also a cartoonist.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Which is really cool. You do some amazing work.
Thank you.
You have sold some of your sketches,
pieces,
cartoons,
yeah, sure.
And for Unison.
Yeah, so I do some for, actually I don't for Unison yet, but I will.
Oh, music counts?
Music counts.
Okay, my apologies.
But yeah, I will do something for Unison as well, because I think that's a wonderful charity as well. So music counts. There's a series of 13 pieces that I did for the CCMAs a couple of years ago, and so there's it's a take on an artist and a song, and it's sort of a mashup with something else. So some of them are direct caricatures. The Roadhammers was just a direct caricature, but I did one of Aaron Burchett as sort of a jacked up Stewie Griffin from Family Guy, and he's riding a big wheel, and it was sort of a take on his song Big Wheel. So so it's stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun. So they're like $50 per print, and half of that goes to music counts.
Right.
There's one I did a little Elmo. My friend had a son. He's now 2 years old, and he's got, I'm going to get this wrong. It's called SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, I think.
Oh.
Sorry, Emma, if I got that wrong. So there again, proceeds are going to cure SMA.
Nice.
It's just all about giving back,
Yes.
And cartoons
Yes.
are fun for me. They just bring me so much joy to create them, and if I can give back in some small way, then it's a win and another win. So
And
it's great.
you even did one of you and Peter, which is
I did. That was just a little
awesome.
sketch.
It's so cool.
It was
I love
fun.
it.
I threw it up on Instagram. It's part of the album artwork. Peter actually is on the cover of Taking My Time.
Originally, you got to tell the story of that.
Okay, so I had all of my album artwork done.
I keep listening for the beat for the camera to shut off, but okay, if it does.
So the album artwork was completely finished. It was ready to go. It was all but sent to the manufacturer. It was already uploaded to iTunes, so to a certain extent I was committed to that artwork. But when I had Peter and I got thinking about the songs that I'd recorded and the album and the kind of guy that I am and my personality, it was hilarious, and it was totally representative of me and the project to have Peter on the cover. And so we created this scene where he and I are playing checkers.
And he's probably winning, right?
He is winning. He's kicking my butt. I'm convinced that he cheated, but yeah, it's a great image. There's a lot of little Easter eggs. I found a little Volkswagen Beetle cookie jar, so that's in there.
Oh, which is
same
your
color as
car.
my car. Yeah, so
Okay.
there's that.
You mentioned the picture.
The picture of me when I was a kid. There's a picture of Raymond Davis, and Raymond is Chip Davis's father. Chip is a background singer in Nashville. He's out touring with Alabama now. He's sung on records for everybody from Billy Currington to Blake Shelton to Ronnie Dunn. I mean, you name it, he's sung on it. And so Chip has become one of my best friends in Nashville. And I've met his father a bunch of times. When I was spending so much time in Nashville, the Davis family sort of adopted me when I was missing all my family stuff. They brought me over for Easter and birthdays and things like that. So it was really wonderful. And so I got to know them all pretty well. And so at Chip's birthday party, this is a couple of years ago now, Raymond took me outside at the end of the night, and he put his arm around me and walked me to my car. And he said, "Well, Scotty, may the good Lord take a liking to you." And I had never heard it put that way before. And it was just sort of this light bulb moment. He's an old Southern preacher, and so he's just full of these little pearls of wisdom and stuff. And so when that fell out of his mouth, it was just like, oh man, I got to write that song. So I did, and it's on the record, and I actually feature him on it. It sort of bookends the song, which is pretty cool. So to have a little picture of him was a nice little sort of homage to him. And there's I Dr. Doolittle again. I saved a deer that was on the road, a little bit fawn. This is years ago now, but there's a picture of him in there. I had a chance to play with the bass player from Alabama and Chip and a bunch of guys from Brooks and Dunn's band and the Oak Ridge Boys and a bunch of different bands at the Alabama Fan Club headquarters, and so that was really cool for me. So I didn't broadcast that anywhere, but I have a picture of it, and so I just tuck that in there as well.
Awesome.
So, and on the bottom right corner of that record player, there's a piece of music, and that's actually the first song that I played with the Milverton Legion Band. It's called the Showboy March.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of little Easter eggs.
Are these printed? Are they good to go? Do you have some in the car?
I don't yet.
You don't? Okay.
I just heard from the manufacturer that they are done, so I'm going to pick them up tomorrow.
Oh, so I'm a day early.
You're a day early.
Well, next time I see you, I did order it online.
Cool.
And I haven't been home long enough to have it uploaded and listen to the whole thing.
Cool.
So we'll do that when I get home.
I hope you like it.
Tomorrow. But I do want hard copy. I'm old-fashioned girl. I like my hard copy.
Love it.
So I can read the liner notes.
Well, it's cool. Like I'm the same way. I've always believed in record packaging, and so it's a full 6-panel digipack with a 12-page booklet. It's pretty cool. So all the lyrics are in there. All the musicians are credited, and I just think that's important. I used to geek out, and I wanted to know who was playing and singing on stuff, and I did a couple of little illustrations for a couple of songs, and so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Great. Shall we bring Peter on?
You want to meet him, huh?
Of course.
Hang on.
Here he is.
Hey, Petey. Hi, sweetheart.
This is Peter Porker.
Hi. He's such a cutie.
He's my little buddy.
And he's become quite the celebrity.
Yeah,
What's he doing
has.
with that tongue sticking out? Eh? What's he doing with that tongue sticking out?
He's been sleeping. Oh, buddy. Oh, my goodness.
Do I taste good? I promise you, I have not had any pork today. I had eggs for breakfast.
Yeah, he's a pretty special little guy.
He is. I love that you had him on the red carpet at the CMA.
Yeah, I took him to the CMAO Awards, yeah.
And he was running around the media room. I'm doing an interview with Dan Davidson. And Dan's going, "There's a pig running around here."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, that's Petey."
Yeah.
And he goes, weird look on his face. I said, "Do you not know about Peter?"
Yeah, he met Dan later on in the evening. It was pretty cool.
You're a pretty content guy.
Yeah, he's great.
You are.
He just chills out. He's got the run of the chicken coop, so he just, he's basically a farm pig. He's got sort of a free range kind of thing going on, and
you guys really have a bonding.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just my buddy. I go out and I get a little snuggle time with him every day, and he's great. He comes when he's called.
And he's met a whole lot of people that we know.
He has,
and the girls love him.
Kelly Prescott's in love with him.
Nose.
Genevieve Fisher's in love with him. He's got his pick,
And I had met him. How long have you had him now? It's like a month.
Yeah, I guess 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. And so he's already grown. He's probably put on 5 pounds already. So he was 11 or 12 pounds when I got him. He's almost 17 pounds now. So. And
he loves watermelon.
He loves watermelon, yeah.
And popcorn.
Yeah.
And you're pretty noisy when you eat the watermelon, aren't you?
Sure is.
You are. You totally, yes. Yeah. It's chomp, 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 chomp.
Yeah. So he's on Instagram. He's Peter Porker Piggy, and He's going to have more followers than me in about 5 minutes. So.
And love the bow tie. It totally makes
Well, I think, a proper pig should have a proper bow tie. Mm-hmm. So.
You need to get him a Spider-Man bow tie.
Well, it's funny. I just got him a Spider-Man mask, so we're going to see if
really?
that works. I don't know if he's going to like it, but we'll see.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. So he's gonna get to.
Well, I've heard estimates from like 200 to 300 pounds. I heard somebody say maybe 1,100. I don't know if I buy that, but apparently certain breeds do get up to be that big. So I hope not, but we'll see. I mean, I don't really have a plan for him yet. We're just sort of taking it a day at a time. And if it gets to a point where I can't take care of him anymore, then we'll look at some options. But for now, he's pretty happy
He's
where
with
he
you,
is.
and he's happy, and you've
Yeah.
got the space for him, which is
Yeah.
really, really good.
It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you for bringing him on
No,
camera.
my pleasure.
Kind of got your backside there. Yeah,
Oh.
but that's okay. That
Oh,
beautiful, beautiful face. Yes.
So, thank you so much, Scotty.
Thanks, Linda. I
Scotty
appreciate your
Kipfer,
time.
please check his album out on Spotify, and if you like it, go buy it on iTunes. It is called Taking My Time, and you get to see this little guy on the cover and all those other wonderful little hidden gems
Little Easter
that you've
eggs.
got.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And we'll put up Scotty's socials
Yep.
and Peter's.
That sounds great. Sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Scotty.
Linda. Take care, guys.
And I'm Linda Helbig for Canadian Beats.